Genghis Khan, the man who conquered the world. Imagine a man so powerful that entire cities surrendered simply after hearing his name. A man whose armies rode thousands of miles across deserts, mountains, and frozen plains, defeating every major power that stood in their way. A man who began life as a poor and abandoned child but would eventually create the largest contiguous empire in human history. This is the story of Genghis Khan. To some, he was a brutal conqueror responsible for the deaths of millions. To others, he was a visionary leader and military genius who connected East and West, protected trade, and changed the course of world history forever. 8 centuries after his death, his legacy remains one of the most fascinating and controversial in human history. How did a boy born in the remote grasslands of Mongolia rise to become the ruler of an empire that stretched from the Pacific Ocean to Eastern Europe? This is the story of Genghis Khan, the man who conquered the world. The land of the Mongols. Long before the rise of Genghis Khan, the vast plains of Mongolia were home to nomadic tribes. These tribes lived in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Winters were freezing, summers were dry, and survival was never guaranteed. The Mongols lived in portable tents called yurts and depended heavily on horses. A Mongol child learned to ride almost before learning to walk. Hunting, warfare, and survival were all part of daily life. But the Mongol tribes were deeply divided. They constantly fought one another over land, livestock, and power. Alliances changed quickly, and betrayal was common. It was a world where only the strongest survived. And it was in this dangerous world that a boy named Temujin was born. The childhood of Temujin. Around 1162, Temujin was born near the Onan River in present-day Mongolia. According to legend, he was born holding a blood clot in his hand, a sign that he was destined to become a great warrior. His father, Yasujii, was the leader of a small tribe. For a short time, Temujin lived a relatively comfortable life. But everything changed when he was only 9 years old. While returning from a journey, his father was poisoned by a rival tribe known as the Tatars. The death of Yasujii destroyed the family's position. Their followers abandoned them, leaving Temujin, his mother, and his siblings alone in the wilderness. They were forced to survive by eating wild fruits, roots, and fish. Sometimes they had nothing to eat for days. Poverty and hunger became Temujin's teachers. He learned that trust was rare and survival depended entirely on strength and determination. Betrayal and slavery. Life became even more difficult. At one point, Temujin's family argued over food and resources. In one violent incident, Temujin killed his older half-brother. The harsh environment had taught him that weakness could mean death. Later, Temujin was captured by an enemy tribe called the Taikiat. He was placed in a wooden collar and treated like a slave. For many people, this would have been the end. But not for Temujin. One night, he escaped from captivity and disappeared into the darkness. This escape became a turning point in his life. He now understood that he was destined for something greater. Building an army. As he grew older, Temujin began gathering loyal followers around him. Many of these men were poor, homeless, or rejected by their own tribes. Temujin offered them something different: loyalty, opportunity, and a chance to become powerful regardless of their background. This was revolutionary. Most tribal leaders promoted family members and noblemen. Temujin promoted people based on skill and loyalty. A common shepherd could become a general if he proved himself. This system attracted thousands of followers. Slowly, a new army was being born. The unification of the Mongols. For decades, the Mongol tribes had fought endless wars against one another. Temujin dreamed of ending these divisions. Through a combination of warfare, alliances, and diplomacy, he defeated one tribe after another. Some joined him willingly. Others were completely destroyed. Finally, in the year 1206, the leaders of the Mongol tribes gathered in a great assembly called a Kurultai. There, Temujin was given a new title, Genghis Khan. The exact meaning remains debated, but it is often translated as universal ruler. At that moment, history changed forever. The Mongol Empire had been born. creating the perfect war machine. Genghis Khan transformed his warriors into one of the greatest fighting forces the world had ever seen. His soldiers were incredibly disciplined. Every warrior could ride for days without rest. Every soldier was trained in archery. Every unit knew exactly what to do in battle. The Mongols developed military strategies far ahead of their time. They used spies and gathered intelligence before attacking. They employed fake retreats, pretending to flee and then suddenly turning around to destroy their enemies. Communication was excellent. Messages could travel across the empire with astonishing speed. The Mongol army became nearly unstoppable. The conquest of China. The first great target of Genghis Khan was northern China. The Chinese kingdoms were rich, powerful, and heavily populated. But they underestimated the Mongols. The Mongol cavalry moved with incredible speed. They attacked unexpectedly and struck fear into their enemies. After years of brutal fighting, many Chinese cities fell. The Mongols captured engineers and learned advanced siege warfare techniques. Now they could destroy even heavily fortified cities. Their power was growing rapidly, and the world was beginning to fear them. The war against the Khwarezm Empire. In 1218, Genghis Khan wanted peace with the Khwarezm Empire, one of the most powerful states in Central Asia. He sent merchants and diplomats to establish trade. But the ruler of Khwarezm made a fatal mistake. He accused the merchants of being spies and ordered their execution. Then he killed the Mongol ambassadors. For Genghis Khan, this was more than an insult. It was a declaration of war. What happened next would become one of the most devastating military campaigns in history. The destruction of Central Asia. The Mongol armies invaded with terrifying speed. One city after another fell. Bokhara, Samarkand, Urgench. Entire civilizations were destroyed. The Mongols showed little mercy to those who resisted. Millions are believed to have died during these campaigns. Stories of Mongol brutality spread across Asia and Europe. Their reputation became one of their greatest weapons. Many cities surrendered without a fight simply because they were terrified. The Great Empire. By the 1220s, Genghis Khan controlled an empire unlike anything the world had ever seen. It stretched across enormous distances, from the Pacific Ocean to the deserts of Central Asia to the borders of Europe. No empire in history had expanded so quickly. Trade flourished. Ideas traveled across continents. New technologies spread from east to west. This period became known as the Pax Mongolica, the Mongol Peace. For the first time in history, much of Eurasia was connected under one political system. The man behind the conqueror. Despite his fearsome reputation, Genghis Khan was not only a warrior. He was also an administrator and reformer. He encouraged religious freedom. He protected merchants. He created laws that applied to everyone. He promoted people based on merit rather than family connections. He understood the importance of loyalty and organization. These policies helped hold together one of the largest empires in history. The mysterious death of Genghis Khan. In 1227, while campaigning against the Western Xia Kingdom, Genghis Khan suddenly died. The cause remains unknown. Some believe he died from injuries sustained in battle. Others think he died from illness. His final resting place remains one of history's greatest mysteries. According to legend, the soldiers who buried him kept the location secret forever. Even today, no one knows exactly where Genghis Khan lies buried. The empire after Genghis Khan. After his death, his sons and grandsons continued his conquests. His grandson, Kublai Khan, conquered all of China and established the Yuan dynasty. The Mongol Empire eventually became the largest contiguous land empire in human history. Its influence reached Europe, the Middle East, Russia, and Asia. The world would never be the same again. Was Genghis Khan a hero? Or was he a villain? The answer depends on who tells the story. For many, he was a ruthless conqueror responsible for unimaginable destruction. For others, he was a brilliant leader who united nations, expanded trade, and changed world history forever. But one thing is certain. From a poor and abandoned boy living on the Mongolian steppes, he rose to become one of the most powerful men who ever lived. More than 800 years later, his name still echoes through history. Genghis Khan, the man who conquered the world. If you enjoyed this documentary, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more incredible stories from history. See you in the next documentary.